Congress passed the CARE Act, a $2.2 trillion stimulus to help states, businesses, and individuals survive the COVID pandemic. A wide variety of programs are available. And joining us to sort through all of this and take a look at the federal response, Senator Roger Wicker with us on the 4 o'clock show. A lot of ground to cover, Senator. Thanks for being with us here on the Mississippi Coast. First of all, there's been a lot of debate regarding the administration's handling of this pandemic, albeit some of it has been politicized. But from where you sit, where would criticism be justified and what has been done well?
Well, I want to look at the positive side of it. And in terms of bipartisanship, this bill passed 96-0 in the U.S. Senate. The ones that didn't vote for it were absent because they were quarantined themselves. And then, as you know, it passed with only one dissenting vote in the House of Representatives. So we can be proud about the nonpartisanship of it in the U.S. Congress. Let me just say there are so many moving parts to implementing this act. I have a website. It's wicker.senate.gov. And if people will go on that website, wicker.senate.gov, there is a coronavirus part that you can click on, and just a world of information, not only about the health aspects, but if you're a hospital, if you're a nonprofit, university, elementary, secondary school, there are just so many places that this bill affects, and it's a resource that we've developed to get the information out to the people about this.
I want to talk specifically about the CARES Act, but I want to go kind of back to my question. Do you think the Trump administration has done a good job? Because they are taking a lot of criticism from a lot of different quarters.
Nobody's perfect, but I think the information has been out there every day. These two medical professionals, Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, to me, they ought to get some sort of national service award for the information they've been providing every day. And so I appreciate the president being able to go before the news media, answer questions at length, and provide information to the public. So I'm satisfied. I guess in a vacuum, nothing's perfect, but all in all, I've been pleased.
All righty. When we look, the stimulus, about $500 billion for big business, the heartbeat of America's small businesses, about $377 billion. This primarily to try to keep workers, keep making payroll, try to, even though we have a shutdown, to keep your doors open if at all possible. Can you tell small businesses that the government is equipped to make this a pretty smooth way of doing business?
I think the rollout has gone as smoothly as possible. When you realize the law was passed just a week ago tonight. I mean, just 2 weeks ago tonight, and they rolled out the small business part in really 7 days and started taking applications. There have been some hiccups and glitches, and not every application has been able to go through just yet. But I think starting with small business, which, as you say, Dave, is the heart and soul of our economy in the United States, I think that was a good start. And the money is now getting out, and it's not to the small businesses. The idea is to keep employees working. And then in those instances, whether they work for a big company or a small business, as most Americans do, if they have to go on unemployment, to make sure that that's enhanced, get the money out there and make people whole until we can get this economy going again. This is something that I view it as a natural disaster. Nobody's at fault here out in the public. This is something that happened to us from a disease standpoint, and people are doing what they're being asked to do, and that's stay inside, stay away from people, and in many cases, stay away from work. So this is to make them whole until we can get America back on the job.
$340 billion going to the states. I know the issue of unemployment. There's the extra $600 coming from the CARES Act. But I don't know if you've been hearing the horror stories here in Mississippi, and I know it's the State Department of Employment Security that is running this. But here on the coast with the casinos and restaurants, I don't know if you've heard, people are getting knocked offline. People are having trouble navigating anything on the phone. Have you looked into that, and what can you tell people here who are very concerned that the unemployment system in terms of claims isn't working?
Well, we do direct that be done through the state governments. It's something we'll work with them about if they're not getting the resources from the federal government. But it is a grant to the state governments, and we want to work with them to make it work well. But we are a federal system, and we don't do everything from Washington. Anyone in state government knows they can call me. I was on the phone with the governor's chief of staff earlier today and last night. So we're working with them, but it is a state issue with that particular program.
Okay, finally, and we have less than a minute left. There's talk already, I heard from Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, among others, that they're actually working on another stimulus, a CARES Act, I believe it would be 5, or CARES Act 2 coming up. What's the latest on that?
Well, this would actually be phase 4. I tell you what is going to happen probably as early as tomorrow, and I think that that will be done by unanimous consent, both in the House and Senate. I think there will be some additional funds put into this small business program, because it is people working, keep people on the payroll of these small businesses. So that'll be the next phase. And then I think a lot of the things that Nancy Pelosi is asking are sort of long-term liberal agenda items that probably the American people will not approve of. But there's some things like infrastructure, like shipbuilding, like military manufacturing, that I think Democrats and Republicans can agree on. And we'll look at that later on this month when Congress goes back into session.
All righty. Senator Roger Wicker, always a pleasure having you here on WLOX.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks so much.
I appreciate the opportunity.
All righty. Now we're